Hello everyone and welcome to the video, and today we're going to be talking about the best dual dagger build in Elden Ring. So this is going to be primarily an arcane based build where the daggers do tons of damage very quickly and proc bleed. But before we get into the video, I would like to ask you guys to not only drop a sub to the channel, but to also drop a like on the video. About 99% of you guys are not already subscribed, and that is an insane number, so if you guys could please do me that favor, it would help me out so much and I would really appreciate it. So another thing I wanted to mention was that if you guys have any trouble getting any of the items for the build, you can go to aoa.com, and on this website you can get any item, rune, or consumable. You can literally get anything in the game for very cheap, and you could also use code SARAH for 3% off. I will put the link in the description, but with that being said, let's get right into the video. So the first thing we always talk about with our builds is the gear of the build. So for this build specifically, we are using two great knives. One is keen and one is occult. The keen great knife has Bloodhound's step on it. I will explain why one is keen and one is occult a little bit later. However, for our sacred seal, we have the Dragon Communion seal because it scales with Arcane. For the fashion of the build, we have the Sanguine Noble hood, followed by the Alberic's robe altered, and then the Knight's Cavalry gauntlets and Knight's Cavalry greaves. For the talismans, we have Lord of Blood's exaltation, which boosts attack power when there's blood loss. Then we have the Old Lord's talisman, which extends spells. And then we have the Flock's Canvas Talisman, which boosts incantations, followed by the Fire Scorpion Charm, which raises fire attack. And for our Wondrous Physic, we have the Flame Shroud and Cracked Tear, and the Thorny Cracked Tear. And as for the stats of the build, we are level 150, we have 50 Vigor, 15 Mind, 30 Endurance, 11 Strength, 14 Dexterity, 14 Intelligence, 20 Faith, and 75 Arcane. As for the incantations of the build, the first one we have is Fire's Deadly Sin, followed by the Blood Flame Blade, and the Catch Flame, Swarm of Flies, and Rotten Breath. So now I'm just going to go over why I chose all of these parts of the build, as well as how it works and how you should be using it. So first off, I want to talk about why we're using one keen dagger and one occult. So obviously we have 75 in Arcane, so you would wonder why we wouldn't want two of the blades to be occults, and that's because we are going to be buffing the one up with Blood Flame. There is currently an interaction with Blood Flame Blade and the Fire's Deadly Sin that allows the damage to actually proc whenever you're standing near somebody. It's not major, however, the blood loss buildup is insane. And when you pair it with daggers, you're actually able to just shred through people and cause blood buildup procs literally constantly. So this used to be a bug when the game first came out. People were abusing this with the Eclipse Shodel, and after a couple patches, I'm starting to believe that this is not a bug and just an intended feature. So I have been using it on a couple of my builds, and I'm going to be posting those later on. But this build works very well just because the daggers hit very quickly, and the blood loss buildup is very fast. So you're kind of just like spamming attacks very quickly, and the blood loss just piles up and piles up. I was able to shred a lot of bosses in this video, as you guys will see. A lot of times I wasn't even trying to live in the boss fights or even kill the boss, but just demonstrate exactly how much damage I am able to do and how quickly you can actually do it. So I think in one of the clips I was fighting up against Commander Nile, and I absolutely shredded him. I was directly on top of him, literally not even trying to dodge, and that's one of the main parts of the build, is that you have that dodge, you have the ability to close the distance with the Bloodhound Step, and it allows for incredible movement and incredible damage very quickly. However, I wasn't utilizing it. I was just trying to show off the raw damage that you can do, which is absolutely incredible. So as you guys probably have realized, this build definitely centers around blood. And for that reason, you could easily change up the fashion of the build. Right now I have it purely just for looks because I feel like aesthetically the fashion is amazing for this build. However, you could easily run the white mask for a little bit more damage when there's blood loss in the vicinity, and there is literally always blood loss in the vicinity. So you could easily do that, get a little bit more damage. However, I'm always about the fashion, so I can really care less about a little bit more damage. However, 10% is not anything minor, so I would definitely recommend you run that if you want a little bit more damage. However, this dagger build is actually very incredible. I thought about running a couple different combinations, and I did at one point run 2 occult daggers, and whereas the blood buildup was pretty quick, I definitely favored this build because you just get it a little bit faster. You have that passive blood buildup mixed up with the fact that you can just attack so quickly with daggers, and for that reason this is definitely some of the fastest blood buildup you can do against enemies. I was doing it incredibly quickly against enemies with no resistances to blood buildup, like the giant in the beginning of the video. You can see I absolutely shredded his health bar. He had like 11,000 health, and he was dead in just a few seconds. So it does incredible damage. You guys are definitely going to enjoy this build, and overall I had a lot of fun with it. There are a couple downsides of the build, and that's the fact that you have to be pretty much directly on top of people, and for that reason it's not 100% practical for PvP. However, there are a couple things you can change out to make it a little bit more useful in PvP, and that is the Ash of War. You could easily change out the Bloodhound Step in favor of something with a little bit more range, just so you could actually hit people. However, this is not really necessary, and overall, if you just close the gap on them, you could obviously, hit them a lot faster than they're going to be able to hit you. Mixed with Catch Flame in the build, you're actually going to be able to do pretty consistent damage, and the only drawback, like I said, is that you're going to have to be pretty much directly on top of them, and people usually try to get away from you when you're doing that. However, the build isn't bad. PvP, it might struggle a little bit, but I didn't really use it too much for PvP. I was just mostly shredding bosses for people and having a lot of fun in PvE content. But overall, the build is amazing. It was a lot of fun to use, and I really hope you guys enjoy it. But that's pretty much it for today's video. So if you guys have any specific builds you want to see, the last one that somebody commented was the dual dagger build, and I just made that right now. So if you want to see any specific builds, you can comment below, and whatever comment gets the most likes, I will make a video on that. But also, if you just comment down below a build that I specifically want to make, I will make it regardless of the amount of likes that it has. So like I said before, that's pretty much it for today's video. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.